All right, these are the 10 things I quit in my 30s that make me so much happier today. Number one, I stopped drinking. Yeah, I stopped drinking when I was in my 30s. And I think that pretty much fundamentally changed my life. Also killed my social life as well. Uh, it's a little bit different when you tell your friends you don't drink anymore. You probably lose 90% of them. And then I really got into trail running and marathoning. And then what I discovered in that specific world is people love to drink before they ran sometimes or after they ran. Probably a lot more after the run. I mean, there's this thing called the beer mile where people literally drink beer and then run as fast as they can. It's kind of a anomaly in the running world. First of all, I apologize if you're going to hear some slamming doors today. Summer's officially out for my children, and I have no control over what they're going to be doing today. So I apologize for that in advance. But anyways, I picked up running. I met my wife in my mid-30s, and I started to run almost every day. And my social life no longer surrounded me at restaurants at night or frequently going out to eat. It really centered around the morning run and oftentimes an evening run. And I was really passionate about being performance oriented, and I wanted to be fast, and I was really working hard at that. And then a few years later, I found out that I was going to be a father, and I kept up that lifestyle. But I went probably from having friends, both digitally and not, to 5 friends. And all 5 friends ran. And those that ran and drank, we only ran together. And those that ran and didn't drink, we hung out together. So I often say you're the division of 5 of the closest people you hang out with. And that kind of defined my life. So it changed my life. You know, I think in my 20s, I remember those days where you would go to a bar and you have to stay for a really long time because everybody's there and you want to go home. And the good thing about quitting drinking is that's no longer your problem. And I was in an industry in my mid-30s where people were still drinking quite a bit in the active industry. You would think that runners didn't drink, but some runners are really good at drinking. So I quit that, and that I can't tell you, that literally added probably 15 years to my life. I sleep better. I just fundamentally operate at a higher level. And I think I gave up some friends, and I'm not going to say like those weren't important friends. There's still, we still, keep in touch from time to time. And there were some fun times, there were jokes and things of that nature. But I think, my wife and I, we don't drink. So you kind of give up your social life for family life. And I think for me, it was sort of a switch where I thought, if you're going to be a family man and you may have to drive your kids at 1 a.m. in the morning, if they felt colicky and they had to go to a hospital, what are you going to do? Call Uber? That didn't seem very smart. So there are a lot of concessions you make as a father, but reflecting on what those decisions are, 15 years later, 14 years later, I'm just so thankful I took that initiative. So I strongly recommend to any of you, 35, 40, quit drinking or try it for a little bit. It was hard for at least 2 years because everybody's like, hey, we're going out, have dinner. And then they don't know how to talk to you if you don't have a drink. They're like, what's wrong with you? And you kind of have to kick that bias aside. Okay, number 2 was I had to give up baggy pants. Oh, I loved my baggy pants. I'm a product of the baggy pants. And all of a sudden, I found myself surrounded by skinny jeans and skinny pants. And now they just brought back baggy pants. And my wife's like, no, that doesn't look good on you. My daughter's like, Dad, get baggy pants. Get baggy pants. I'm sticky with skinny pants, okay? That's it. I'm done trending. I'm going to take my skinny, medium skinny, straight leg, whatever you call it. I'm just going to take that until I'm 90. Maybe 100. You never know. Okay, the third one. This is my favorite. You get to stop dating. Yes, I quit dating. Oh, the best thing about getting married is you don't have to date, because dating is such, at least for me, time consuming. I get very little excitement from it. I just want to be with someone stable and then move forward. So yeah, that was something that getting married for me was really cool, because I get to quit dating. You can't do both. I guess some people do it, but at least for me, you don't have to like meet a stranger, talk to a stranger. Like, I get that. I mean, I get that part of work, but on your personal life, you just like want stability. At least that's the world I live in. Okay. And then there's another thing that plagued me for years was when I was doing venture capital and tech startups, I always had 2 phones. Yes. And I had 2 phones because they were from literally different countries, because I had an operation in Asia and I also had an operation here in the United States, and number portability wasn't a thing yet. So you kind of had to carry both phones. It was a whole thing. So I just consolidated into one phone, and it was like, that was an amazing experience. I got to focus on just having one handset. So it just like reduced all my anxiety by tenfold. But even yet, to piggyback off of that, I also decided to quit social media. And my wife and I had started a company where we did recovery tools and injury prevention tools for athletes and people of all walks of life, but specifically people who are in the endurance world and runners. And it was a really cool experience. And what we really wanted to do was figure out like how to help people do what they want to do through protocols that allowed them to do it through injury. So that was a really interesting business that we operated. But the fundamental thing about that business was we had to travel a lot. And so we were driving all around the country, working with running stores and running store owners and runners from all over the world, all over the country. And you would be surprised how cool of an experience that is. I mean, from Brentwood, not in Southern California, but like Brentwood, Tennessee, to, Naperville, Chicago, to Sacramento. There's so many different places, South Carolina, North Carolina, Maine. We were all over the country running with everyone, and that was so much fun. And as a result of that, we used to take a lot of caffeine because we had to drive all-nighters, but then during that period, I quit another thing that was pretty major in my life, which was I quit Diet Coke. I haven't had a Diet Coke or diet drink of any sort for 13 years, 14 years. I read some article that said diet drinks weren't good for you, and then I just quit. So I've never had it. Isn't that crazy? So I think that was like a top thing in my life that I did. I'm pretty convinced that added probably another 3 to 5 years in my life. Now that I've researched more about some of the deleterious effects of drinks that trick you that you're having sugar. It's more of a psychological thing that I'm aware of. So your body you can't really trick your brain. It'll make up. You can sometimes, but it'll make up for the difference. You drink a lot of Diet Coke and then you binge on something sugary later on. That's actually something that was studied. Maybe I'll touch on that in a future research paper. And then in my 20s, I did a lot of golfing. I was a pretty good golfer, and I lost all interest for golfing, so I quit it. I mean, now that I have a baby and I could spend time with her, I did not have time to spend I wasn't a great golfer. I guess I'm okay, but, getting there, getting ready, playing, hanging out, and everybody has to drink. It's like, that's 8 hours. And so I quit that. I'm really, really happy that I quit that. I quit it from the point of view that I stopped playing golf unless occasionally someone would invite me. And at that point, I was a pretty serious runner. So every time I would, once a year, maybe, when I'm on a golf course, I'm thinking about like running the golf course, fantasizing about. And then one time I did an Ironman, a half Ironman in La Quinta, Palm Springs, and we got to run a golf course. So that was like the coolest thing I've ever done, like in a endurance sport. Like we ran, for those of you who are interested in doing triathlon, like La Quinta, which is Palm Springs area, half Ironman, amazing. You get to run a golf course and a race course, a car racing course. Actually, you run the golf course and you bike the racing course. Incredible feat. And that was really cool as an experience. And what else did I do? Okay, I gave up golfing. Oh, this is really, really, truly material. I also gave up processed food. So somewhere along the line, I discovered how bad processed foods were for you, especially the seed oils. And so I just stopped ordering it. And I mean, listen, there's times where I take processed food during my endurance runs where you fuel with sucrose and glucose and fructose, and invariably they are ingested through processed bars. In that case, it's okay because your muscles can actually take in the sugar, the glucose, without even insulin. That's one of the rare cases where the body makes room. The muscles make room to take in the glucose without insulin. So that's during exercise. And I would highlight more so in endurance exercises when we're out there for hours, if not days. But processed food as a diet, right? As an everyday diet. So next month, late June, I'll be running the Western States 100 miler, and I will be eating lots of processed gels, and the gels will have sugar in it because within 3 hours, I will have depleted my glycogen storage. If I don't eat, I'll crash, and we're going to probably run 24 to 27 hours, probably more like 27 hours. This is the third time I run it. The first time I ran 29 hours, second time 27 hours. I'm hoping I don't know, maybe we'll do it in 25 hours. We'll see. But it's wonderful. I'll post some videos on it, and hopefully it can inspire some of you guys to get out there. Not just you don't have to run it. Just go out to Lake Tahoe, take a trip and enjoy some of the trails out there. You can split it up. You get 3 miles a day, 2 miles a day. The goal is to get some elevation in there and get your heart pumping a little bit. That's it. I think anyways, check it out. It's Western States 100 miler. What else did I do? Oh, this is really fascinating. And because when I was 34, I joined this running group in Southern California. It's like the premier amateur trail running. They're like the premier trail running group. And we just ran all mountains. Like we were all over the Santa Monica Mountains and Malibu, in that area. And it was incredible. And that taught me to appreciate nature at a completely different level. And I gave up the gym. So I quit the gym. I'm like, what's the point of going to the gym, spending an hour in it? And because of that, because I didn't have a default mode for the gym, I ended up using nature as my gym. And I'll caveat that with, it wasn't until I was 45 that strength training was really highlighted, not only in my research and my studies, that, we should really do resistance training. And I just found that the gym had more equipment that fits my needs. So intermittently, I would go to a gym to do like very short workouts. But I never relied on the gym to do my aerobic. You would never find me on a treadmill there, on an elliptical, on a cycle. You'll never see me do that because I reserve that type of exercise for the outdoors, But I get it. If you're in a place like Minneapolis, we used to have a client there and several clients there, and you'd go in the winter, like that's going to be a little hard to run. So I understand people who live in places where the weather is not favorable to outside aerobic activity. Totally get it. I'm just talking about my point of view. However, I have done some running in Alaska, in the snow, in Colorado. Wow, that's a pretty cool experience. You have to wear these. I'm a West Coast guy, so I didn't know you have to like these micro spikes, and you can do all those things. And during my training, I often will go to Colorado and climb some of those 14ers, and the outdoors are there, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Look up trails on your Google Maps and go out and get you some, sunshine and some nature, because it'll change your life. It's something that you can fall back on if you feel stressed. And I go there all the time. I'm at nature every day. I was there this morning. Maybe I'll put in a video. I was there with my dogs. So I quit the gym in my 30s, before my 30s, like, I got to exercise. I got to do something. I got to go to the gym. And then when I picked up trail running, he's like, I got to exercise. I got to go to the trails. So try to make that switch, try to treat nature as your gym. it might just change your life. Okay, what else we got here? Aha. Sedentary behavior. Before 33, I was pretty much sedentary. Yep. Not going to lie. I worked so much. I was living in 4 different cities in different countries. It was we're in the wireless telecom industry, and we were always traveling. I mean, I even spent time in the Middle East, in Dubai. I was early there, and I just, you're drinking, and then you're going out, and then you eat like crap, and then you go to the gym, but that's not like a workout. Try going out and go to nature, spend like an hour out in nature, interface with some rocks, some climbing. You'll get my point. It's like a whole different experience than going in and looking at fancy gym equipment you can pull on. When we live in, the world's a beautiful place. Earth is a beautiful place. No matter where you are, I think you can find true beauty there outside. Probably if you're in the United States, 5, maybe 10 miles away, you've got real beauty. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I'll mention this again. I quit social media. Yeah. So when my wife and I were traveling the country, one of our competitors, this is a funny story, would, tell everybody everything they were doing on social media. And my wife and I didn't post anything on social media. We just visited each store and sold in our products, like foam rollers, therapeutic devices. And within like a very short period of time, we became the number 1 brand within a unique running store chain. And that was cool. And we didn't do it through social media. We did it through face-to-face, talking to everyone one by one. And those are some really cool events that we had. Loved it. We basically, did you know? And if you didn't know, I highly encourage you to look up your local running stores. They're not just for runners. There's walking. And a lot of times they have like Tuesday night run clubs. They're not really a run club. There's walking. There's running. Fleet Feet stores does a really good walking program. But there's so many different local running stores that you should support, like a Snail's Pace in Southern California in Irvine, or Running Room in Hawaii. They're all over the country, and make them a resource for you to help you move more. If you're looking for a lifestyle intervention, there's nothing like doing activity with a group of people who are like-minded. When you go into a running store, not everybody's running fast. It's 95% of the people are running slow. They're learning to run, learning to walk longer, and then they slowly move into maybe a 10K, maybe a half marathon. But the nightly runs, they're really serving the people who want to run 3 miles and walk 3 miles. So I encourage you to use your local running stores as a real resource to help you move. And a lot of times, we used to do clinics, injury prevention clinics. We worked with physical therapists. We worked with chiropractors. We worked with doctors, podiatrists. We worked with everyone to help the community stay active. So that was really cool. This channel, I think, for me, my wife convinced me to do it because we felt that when we went out this time to meet people in the community, we wanted them to have a place to park their interests so that if there's questions, they can find some of the answers on the channel, and then I can keep publishing my new protocols so that people can follow them. So this is a very young channel. I mean, it's like a week old, but that's the intent, is to make sure that we create a foundation to help communities around the country, first of all, understand, what the importance of exercise is, and then have places where they can go activate themselves to move, sometimes at home, sometimes, by themselves in nature, sometimes with their better half, with their partner, sometimes with their friend, but to create a culture around utilizing, nature as your gym. And I think running stores around the country can really make that impact on you. I'll be honest, if you're able to travel places by foot and by cycling, you see a little bit more than driving. Driving's too fast. You miss a lot of things, and, I've run all around the world, and I urge everybody to use Day Adder as a channel to motivate you to move a little bit more and stay active, but also engage your community, because there's lots of places in our community, hidden gems, where people meet every Tuesday, Wednesday, every Saturday morning, at 6 a.m., 5:30, and they get together. They just want to move with someone else. And it's not fast. You can't move. You can't run that fast every day. You'll get injured, which is another topic I'm going to put in. So next time I'm going to talk about, if you're in your 40s and your 50s and you're just getting back into exercising, everything feels good for the first 30 days. And then at the 30th day, like clockwork, something goes wrong. So if you're getting ready to go out and you're motivated, you're like, I'm going to go do my first run, my first jog in years, take it easy, start half a mile at a time. And even if you feel really good, pull back, okay? Feeling good in the first 30 days doesn't mean you're going to be injury-free. All right, some of these tendons, they hide themselves from inflammation that realizes in front of you probably on the 32nd day. So incrementally, make sure you don't add volume in a pace that's unreasonable to your body. I would say 3 to 5% per week. And then you can add a little bit more after month 6. Just add a little bit more. You could probably do a 5%. This is to stay active, right? And I see so many people to get motivated and they want to train for a 5K, and then they get injured on day 37. They can't run or they can't jog. So be mindful. We're in there for the long run, right? And we want to get there injury-free and safe and happy and well fed. Getting injured is not fun, and you don't have to power through anything. We're not going to the Olympics. So we want to power through life in a healthy way, so we can take care of our health, so we can live long and have great relationships. First of all, with ourselves, and then with other people. If we can't have a good relationship with ourselves, not sure how we can do that with other people. Love yourself, so it's easier for other people to love you. That's my own opinion. But hope you guys enjoyed this kind of update. But again, number 1, I quit drinking. Number 2, I quit dating. Number 3, I quit 2 phones. Number 4, Diet Coke. Number 5, golfing. Number 6, eating processed food. Number 7, going to the gym. Number 8, sedentary behavior. Number 9, social media. I'm not sure if I missed any. Oh, and I quit golfing. So those are the top 10. Appreciate it. I'll do another update later on what I quit in my 40s. That I think is even more fascinating. Okay, bye.